Living in California, we have 5 seasons: winter, spring, summer, fire season, and fall. Thinking back to when I was a kid, we never really had a huge fire season. Of course, there was always some risk for a fire, but not like today. Now, our fire season seems to be getting much longer, and the fires themselves are stronger and much more dangerous. But the question is, why? The answer isn't necessarily black and white, because there are many reasons and many causes to these fires. One cause of these wildfires can be attributed to human error. For example, the Mendocino Complex fire that burned in 2018. This fire was actually comprised of 2 separate fires that merged together: the Ranch Fire and the River Fire. Together, these fires burned more than 450,000 acres, making it California's largest fire at the time. According to an article in the New York Times written by Tim Arango, behind most wildfires, a person and a spark, we bring wildfire with us. He states that one of the fires was actually caused by a person using a hammer. 450,000 acres and a single hammer. Other examples of wildfires from human error are the Delta, the HERS, and the Carr fires. Like I said, all started from human error, according to CAL FIRE. In fact, 95% of wildfires are started from human influence. Of those, only 7% are related to arson. That means 88% of wildfires started are because of human error. Let's talk about population density. In recent years, urbanization has been pushed to its limits. Where you have more people, you also have more cars. Cars are actually the prime cause of wildfires, meaning where you have more people, you have more cars, you have more fires. Arango also states that developers are increasingly pushing past urban boundaries and building homes in wilderness areas prone to fires. This means that builders and developers are building homes and communities in areas that are so dry and so dense that they're much more susceptible to wildfire and damages that come with them. As you can see, human error is definitely a factor in wildfires, but it's also not the only factor. Another reason for an increase in wildfires can be associated with the mindset of people towards fire. For example, author Zach St. George discusses in his article How We Forgot Fire, published in Bay Nature magazine, that when Europeans came to the Americas, they actually used fire as a tool. They actually used fire to help with land management and wildfire prevention to help with the wildlife. However, this all changed when they began using wood as their main resource for building their homes. Instead, a culture of fear towards fire was born. They feared for their families, their lives, and for their belongings because they were afraid that these fires would get out of control and damage their homes and risk their lives. So they created a whole idea of putting the fire out and suppressing the fire instead of embracing it and all of its benefits. The fear kind of overtook them. Scientist Paul Hesburgh, in his TED Talk, Why Wildfires Have Gotten Worse and What We Can Do About It, states that one of the biggest things we can do is remove the fire fuel. This means doing prescribed or controlled burns to help remove the dead, dense vegetation that fuels these wildfires to grow so hot and strongly. He essentially states that if we were to remove all this, we would see a whole new ecosystem be kind of coming from all of it. For example, he states that it would look like a patchwork of different meadows and greenery. It wouldn't be so dry. There'd be so much more life. The trees wouldn't be so densely packed together. They'd be much more spread apart. A healthier and more thrivable ecosystem that's not as impossible as our dense, dry, vegetation-fueled forests. Similar to Paul Hesburgh's theory, author and historian Antoni Perucci states in his article where he researched the Karasti tribe where they used fire. Essentially, in his article, The Ancient Ecology of Fire, published in an archaeology magazine, he stated that his studies concluded that the tribe actually used fire as a powerful tool. They really embraced all it could do. And so they used it for land management. They also used it for wildfire prevention, but they also used it for, food resourcing and adding nutrients back into the soil. So I think the biggest thing is that instead of, being afraid of it, they embraced it. So that mindset that we have to suppress the fire and put the fire out has definitely kind of caused these wildfires to really become stronger and become much more devastating. Although there are many reasons as to why wildfires start, it's something we'll have to deal with forever. Causes can range from people to cars to even natural, causes like lightning. But one thing is for sure, that fire is going to be around forever, and it's going to possibly keep going and growing stronger and more dangerous. There are many experts who are learning from these new wildfires that seem like they're impossible, never going to end. But fire is something that's going to be around forever, and it's something that I think we should embrace. Who knows when the next fire will be? Maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it's in a month from now. But only one thing's for certain. The next wildfire isn't a question of if it'll happen, but a question of when it'll happen. Thank you.